Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I am the Battle Room, and today I am joined by no one. I am alone. But that's not going to stop me from reviewing the most recent Atlanta Regionals. I almost said Toronto. Atlanta Regionals that just took place this last weekend. The last Regulation G event of the 2025 season. In America, at least. There still is one more in Europe, and there might be more in Latin America, Australia. I don't know. I don't really care, but it's almost over. We're almost done, but I thought I'd take a look at the results and take a peek at what the meta was like on the final North American tournament here. So first off, we've got ourselves... Okay, I'm going to skip that one because we're going to come back to number 26 because it did do well in the tournament. We're going to have to talk about it later. So I'd rather break that down at the highest finish, if you will. Now let's check out Will's team here. This team is not super crazy, nothing nuts here. It's a pretty standard Zam team with a random Tingdozo on it. That's all I have to say. It makes sense. Tingdozo's good. Slam it on anything. This team looks pretty good. I think this is definitely like a pretty strong team right now. I think Ogerpon Rock pairs extremely well with Calyrex. I think the rain mode is little bit not under-respected because people still know how goated it is, but it's still good. Obviously, it's such a threatening lead to just put the Pelipper next to Urshifu. And then those two obviously synergize incredibly well with Calyrex, which synergizes incredibly well with Raging Bolt and Ogerpon. And then this guy's just here because he's awesome with Calyrex. Trick Room is goated with Landorus if he's sweeping. I assume this is the bulky one, but if not, it's also still great. You can underspeed Miraidon, you can put Thread on with Sanseer. It goes pretty fucking hard. Next up, we've got Mienshao Calyrex-Shadow. Now, I think Mienshao Calyrex-Shadow was really good, and it was a really good approach to dealing with the turtle teams, because I think the turtle teams were kind of eating up the Calyrex-Shadow balances. So now you put Mienshao on there, and the turtle can no longer hit Calyrex-Shadow, which is pretty lit if it terras. And then you're able to just go nuts with it. You're able to just spam wide guard, and also you can just kill the turtle with Psychic plus close combat, right? Like, because the turtle certainly cannot live that. It might be, the bold ones might be able to live, but worst case, you're still dealing a ton of damage. You have double fighting types. I guess he doesn't have a fighting move, but whatever. And then you have a really good setup. You have double fake out. Like, this guy's good against the turtle, obviously, but he's good in other matchups too. Wide guard's good against Calyrex-Ice. And yeah, it's just like, it seems like a really good way to set up Calyrex. I like this team a lot, honestly. Calvin rocking the ability shield Koraidon with Wheezing. Now I think this team is pretty saucy. I was considering it for the GCs myself, but I also think it's pretty fucking annoying because even if you know all the items and moves, you still have to deal with it in game, and I think it can be really obnoxious, right? Because they can just lead Wheezing plus Koraidon, and you're like, fuck, dude, what do I do in this? This is stupid as fuck. Or they could lead Chiyu Flutter. You can get smacked with that. You could get hit with Koraidon plus any of his friends. You could get hit with a fucking Koraidon Dozo. You know, like anything that's coming at you, you got to deal with and you got to respect. I think this team is actually pure cancer to deal with. And I think Koraidon does a lot of damage, and it's not something you're as prepared for as the Calyrex version. Not surprised to see Calvin pop off with it. Okay, so this is that same team I was talking about. Again, like I said, I think it's really good. It lets a good player be good. It gives you Trick Room mode. It gives you Raging Bolt mode. Like, you can go nuts with Raging Bolt. You got that Rain mode. It's just a good team. No surprise. No surprise here to see it doing so well. And also, we see Justin Burns rocking a very similar-ish team, but with a lot of slightly different choices here. We have double plates, Icicle Plate and Splash Plate, instead of and Scarf Lando instead of the Scarf for Shifu. And there's an Amoonguss over the Ogerpon Rock. I gotta say, I just like the other team better. But I do think there's a lot of cool pieces here. Scarf Landorus is a little more active into Miraidon at first. They have to consider bringing the Tailwind mode, which sucks. You can't really do that when there's a Trick Room mode. So it makes sense. The Raid mode's a little more potent. This guy can go nuts in Trick Room. And Justin loves Amoonguss, so no surprises there. Okay, then we got Smeargle. Well, that's a Calyrex-Shadow. Smeargle is really nasty. Ooh, it's the Terra Grass one. That one's diabolical. Terra Grass is so stupid and so disgusting. It just kind of warps the matchups sometimes. And sometimes I've lost to this so many times where they just switch in the road. I'm like, fuck, dude. Now they powered up the Giga Drain. Now I'm fucked. It just basically turns this thing into a drain tank, and you just can't win, right? Like, you just can't kill it fast enough. Whether it's with Clefairy, Grassy Terrain, or the Giga Drain, it just doesn't die. And then this guy's just a little fucker. Annoying team, but respectable team. Noah Basically the same team as the last one. Oh my god, it's Giga Drain again. Holy shit, but this one's the double booster. We got the Calm Mind to give you the special defense. Lit. But then we've got the nasty Grassy Seed to give you the boost. Now, I don't know if I can get behind this. I mean, obviously, you did well. Noah, congrats on the finish. But I can't, personally, I don't know if I can get behind this because it means you have to bring Rillaboom like every single game. Otherwise, your Calyrex doesn't have an item. Maybe you do, just don't give a fuck. You're like, I am bringing him every game, and you're going to have to respect him. You're going to have to fucking deal with him. And I'm going to win the game. And that's just how it's going to be. So I think maybe that's how it is. It looks like a really funny team. This is the actual Drain tank, though, right? Like, you got Calm Mind. You've got Grassy Seed. This thing is just like at like literally turn 1. You're just going to fake out and Calm Mind. You're at +1/+1. And there's very little they can do to stop you. You have to deal with a +1 defense, +1 special defense Calyrex. Holy fuck, man. That's nuts. This guy has wide guard. That's why he's there. That's kind of neat. That's really it. Oh. This is like a very similar team to Justin's team, but with Incineroar over Pelipper. Lots of Calyrex-Ices came to the equation that it's like, it's these 4, and then like, you kind of pick your last 2. You need to follow me, whether it's a Mungus or Ogerpon, and then this guy's Pelipper sometimes. So it seems like these 4 are the GOAT status at the end of Reg G, which I think makes sense. It does seem very, very disgusting, very, very powerful. Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy to say there. This is just the team that got second at the European Regional with Eric Rios. Just a really good Calm Mind. It's just a balanced version of Lunala. I think it's really strong. I'm surprised we didn't see more people like pick it up because I think it is very potent and very strong into the meta. It obviously performs really well versus Arabega. It does. I mean, it lost to Hard Trigger, and that was really it. So I don't know. Can you be really mad about that? Like, I would lock this team in. I think it makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, pretty good team. I think just lets a good player be good, and Lou there popped off with it. Next up is another. This is the classic Shadow Rider balance, right? Yeah, this is like the standard 6 for the most boring team of all time, but it's very effective at what it does. We have a Calm Mind Raging Bolt here to pair. I think that's like the only thing of note here. Grassy Glide, I guess. I think they usually run Grassy Glide, but Grassy Glide. And yeah, this is the Calm Mind Raging Bolt as a second setup user with the Calyrex. Goes pretty hard. I don't know. This is putting me to sleep, man. It's putting me to sleep. Next up, we have Case here. This is Case like signature team, I would say at this point. He gave it to a ton of players. A ton of players have done well with this team in the past. It's one I think I've covered on the channel before. It's very, very different than I would say a lot of the Turtle teams now. I don't think Specs Turtle is super popular, and this is like probably the only surviving Specs Turtle team. But it's very effective at what it does. You've got Terapagos here. You pair him with a potential Fergraph to stop the fake outs. And I think Landorus specifically is just absolutely nuts with the double spread moves here. It's just really hard to survive Landorus' hits. So if you pair him with a Pokemon that punishes the Terra, you're chilling. You're sitting so pretty. So I think these two are a godsend. Also, I think all 3 of these Pokemon force Terras in their own way, right? Like, you're usually just going to be Terraing the Terapagos, but like, getting hit with Ivy Cudgel, getting hit with Surging Strikes, getting hit with Sandsear or EP is very, very hard to deal with. And I think Terapagos punishes that incredibly well. I like the build here. I think it makes a ton of sense. And then you obviously need Whimsicott to set up Tailwind, right? And this is Giraffe is just like, I feel like the glue and just holds everything together. I'm not really sure. I haven't really played the team or seen the team too much. Like, I haven't really looked at a ton of games versus it. But I do think the Giraffe seems like the glue holds everything together, stops the fake out, so these guys can really just fucking sweep. And then it just has a lot of like Trick Room for anti-Trick Room, Helping Hand to do more damage, and Psychic Noise for utility. And Foul Play, of course. But yeah, I think it's a cool team, and I think that Case finally getting to use his own team in tournament is pretty sick. Popped off, did really well with it, getting himself 14th. Now we've got Darts over here, Christopher Hahn, and this is just Gavin's team from UIC. I think it's a very strong team. It's very effective at what it does. You just mainly just set up Tailwind, sweep with Kyogre. It's really it. And then you have a Mungus to help with Trick Room or slow teams. It's put me to sleep too. And then Iron Hands to help with Miraidon. But you also have Chiempao. You have Kyogre, who I don't think is that bad in Miraidon. I've actually played a lot of reps with my girlfriend with this team. I gave her this team to practice with, and we've played a lot of reps. So I'm very familiar with this team. I think it's very good at what it does. You set up Tailwind, you press Water Spout. It's very good. And then this guy is awesome too. I think I like these 4 a lot. I think these 2 are good. It just gives you a lot of tools, and you're just mainly pressing Water Spout. Next up, we got Bubs, Honora Bowman here with the Iron Bundle on Miraidon, which I think Miraidon was trending this way a little bit. I do think some people were interested in Iron Bundle. I saw a couple on ladder myself. I didn't play a lot of Reg G at the end. But I think Iron Bundle and just like a not as focused on Whimsicott version of Miraidon have become quite popular and quite effective at what they do. We saw it second at EUIC with Iron Treads. This is just a different version. It does like... It lets you get a more aggressive with the Miraidon, and then this guy's kind of neat too. I don't really know what he does, but he's cool. I also think not running Whims allows you to run Incineroar, which I think is really awesome on Miraidon. I think Incineroar is a great fucking Miraidon partner. One of the best. But Iron Hands is really goated too, and on this team we just have both. But yeah, it's just kind of like if you're gonna play against Tailwind, you just bring Trick Room. But if you're not playing against Tailwind, you have Iron Bundle that just outspeeds everything. It makes sense. It's a really good sandwich. Next up, we got the GOAT, William Brown. So William Brown ran this team and got top 8 at the, I don't know what regional. It was the one before Vancouver, but he did really well with this team. And he popped off with it. I've actually used this team a lot. I think it's really fun. But it's basically just a hard Trick Room team. You're just setting up Trick Room and trying to sweep with Calyrex-Ice. Urshifu Dark is fantastic in Trick Room, especially because it's like min speed choice band. And then you have this Ursaluna Blood Moon as well. And then this is a slow decorate Smeargle, which means you move before all of the Pokemon on the team, which means you can decorate any of them and do insane damage, right? You fake out Trick Room, you decorate Calyrex, boom, boom, game's fucking over, and you win, and they sign the match slip. And I think it's a really sick team because you get to decorate Urshifu. What lives a choice banded +2 Wicked Blow, Terra Dark? Fucking nothing, dude. He's sweeping your entire team. Same with Blood Moon. Blood Moon goes absolutely hard. I think it's a really cool team, and he went pretty deep with it. Getting 11th is pretty nuts. Then we have, oh wow, I didn't actually know the Wobbuffet popped off like this. Leonard Kraft. Again, we talked about this team. It just lets a good player be good. You just get to Calm Mind, you get to Fake Out, and you get to set up on them. And I think Lunala specifically is, I'm not going to say it's better than Terapagos at all. I think Terapagos is still pretty good, like the Calm Mindset. But it kind of hits different matchups harder, and it pops off a little bit like worse than the Shadow Rider, but pops off a little bit better into the more faster, like it doesn't lose to Urshifu instantly, which is like awesome, and I think that's one of the best parts of it here. Rock Tomb's pretty nuts as its only attacking move, but it kind of makes sense because you don't really need to deal damage. Like if you just Encore disable something, you can have any attacking move, and they're slowly gonna die anyways. So it doesn't really matter what you're playing against. So yeah, that's kind of neat. Okay, we're still in 9. Okay, we're not in top 8 yet. So we got 9th here. And this is again a similar-ish team. A lot of slightly different choices here. So we've got no Raging Bolt this time, but opting for Indeedee instead, which I think makes sense because with Raging Bolt you have priority move. Let's put the Indeedee. You don't need the priority move. This guy's sick. I think Indeedee Calyrex is really nasty. It allows you to set up Trick Room just so freely. Like nothing can really stop Trick Room with that lead. And then you also have the rain mode, which is disgusting. This guy can go nuts. You can just lead Pelipper Ursh, switch to Indeedee. What are you going to fucking do? You have to take a Terra Water Surging Strikes in the rain every single time. If you don't have a Gastron, you're fucked. I think that combo is really nasty. And then I think Calyrex is really nasty paired with all these guys. I think that team's really sick. Now we're in top 8. Caden Owens here. This is the standard Terapagos bullshit. Yeah, nothing too nuts here. We've got this is the standard version. This is what I was talking about the Lunala earlier. This is the boring version, but it's basically like probably one of the best teams in the format right now. And I actually do think we're seeing a lot of this team in Regulation I, but they're opting for Calyrex-Shadow Rider over Screamtail usually, with the same set, but Astro Barrage, Encore Disable, and then you just run like the Fake Out Brothers with Terapagos, and you just set up the Calm Mind Terapagos, and then you just have a Shadow Rider instead, which I think is really nasty, really good. Heatran gets replaced too. I don't remember with what, and sometimes this is Ogre Pop Fire. But yeah, I think this team is still very, very good in this format. It popped off here, clearly, but it's also really, really good in the next format too. I think you're going to have to respect the Fake Out Brothers and Calm Mind Terapagos. He's just so good into Shadow Rider, and Shadow Rider is one of the best Pokemon in the game, so it makes a lot of sense that he would continue to be so good. This one truly puts me to sleep, though. I really don't know how these people do it and how they just, like, play this team. It genuinely seems so boring, but, like, once this guy gets going, I'm sure it's kind of fun. But I respect the team. You have to beat it. But holy moly, it's boring. Okay. Next up, we've got Koraidon again. Or Koraidon. This is the first Koraidon we've seen. Outside of the one that got 26. So, Koraidon here with loaded dice. Holy fuck. This is just hyper offense the team. So you've got this hyper-offensive loaded die Koraidon, which is cool. We've got the Imprison. You need the fucking Imprison. If you're going to run hyper-offense, you need to beat Trick Room. This guy chose Imprison. Respect. Terra Ground's also wild. I guess it's from Miraidon. I guess it does make sense. You need to beat Miraidon. Then we have Tornadus to set up Bleak Winds and Icy Waves. And then we have Chi-Yu. Terra Ground as well with Terra Blast. Okay, they really wanted to beat Miraidon that way, which I've used this Chi-Yu. This was back before they changed to Terra Fairy, but Terra Blast Chi-Yu does go incredibly hard into Miraidon. It's really obnoxious because Miraidon can't even really kill you. He doesn't want to press Draco really, and he doesn't really want to press like he can't risk pressing Volt Switch anymore to you. So it's kind of sick even if they are Terra Fairy. And then we have this hyper, super strong Specs, Flutter, and a Landorus. Wow. This is just like, I'm going to do a fuck ton of spread damage. I'm going to hope you don't have Wide Guard. I mean, even if you have Wide Guard, like, you still have EP, you still have Moonblast, you still have Overheat, so Wide Guard's not even going to stop this. But if there's no Wide Guard, I'm just going to press the strongest spread moves in the game and kill you all with my Koraidon Torn, and this guy beats Trick Room. This is a nuts team to see at this high of a level. I feel like usually they burn out and crash a little bit, but that team popped off. It got 7th, and it was a really nuts hyper offense team. Just like, it's like 5 special attackers and a Koraidon too, which I think works. I think it's fine because Koraidon can just bring the physical damage up, and then these guys are just like the strongest guys in their role, right? Like, and if they don't have Tailwind and you don't need to match Tailwinds, you can just smack them around with Koraidon and his Sun buddies. So fuck it, dude. Team goes hard. Next up, we've got. I actually ran a team pretty similar to that. Next up, we've got Brute Bonnet. So I think Brute Bonnet is really good. It was a Pokemon that I thought was good going into the end of the format. I didn't really play this format. At the end, after UIC, I just kind of retired and took a break and played Reg I. But like, I do think Brute Bonnet was really good going into it. And then we saw Jamie Boyd do really well with Brute Bonnet with Koraidon. And I think it's just so good in the Shadow Rider. Because like, Koraidon's roughest matchup is probably the Rider. And also dealing with Ice Rider. Both Riders, really. And having Brute Bonnet, he kind of covers both, right? He can spore one of them. Well, he can spore both of them, but then he can also just threaten offensively both of them with Sucker Punch as well. So I really like Brute Bonnet right now. I also think Brute Bonnet is pretty sick because he does answer the Terraforms of the Calyrex-Ice as well. You're able to Seed Bomb it if it's Terra Water, which I think is the more popular one, but even if it's not, you're still spamming Spore on it. You can press Sucker Punch. It's pretty good. I like this team a lot. I think that Weezing is cool too. It just pairs pretty well in a Koraidon because then you can't be intimidated anyways. So Ability Shield doesn't really feel like a waste because you're stopping Intimidate with Weezing, so it's kind of nice. And then you just have like the good guys. Like you just have Fluttermane, Chi-Yu, and Raging Bolt. So you just have the strong Pokemon with Koraidon, and then you have this guy for the horses and this guy for Dundozo, Weezing, I guess. Probably for some other stuff too. Taunt's pretty valuable. It just looks like a good team. I like this one. I like this one a lot. And next up here is Thomas Irwin with, once again, the most boring team of all time. But it's this time with Zoomlins, actually, which gives you a better matchup into Zamazenta, and that's really the point of Heatran anyways. But it is just like a good 5 Pokemon, and then the Zamazenta answer, right? Like, you're like, okay, if I play Zam, I got an answer, and I'll just win. And if I don't play Zam, I have Terapagos and all of his best friends, and I'll just be really, really annoying and go really, really deep into the tournament and just set up for days. So next up after that is top 4. So we've got Yuki's team here. Yuki's a really great player, and it's crazy to finally see him have this insane pop-off performance that he's been deserved for a while. And I think this team is pretty sick. Yuki is quite the chef in the kitchen, using a lot of weird shit, I would say traditionally. Using like just weird sets, weird mons, really usually hyper offensive. He's a very aggressive player. I think this team really shows it. And I like this team. I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Like you have the Nasty Plot, Expanding Force. So you're doing fuck tons of damage. You're going nuts with Calyrex-Shadow. But then you have double Follow Me, so you can set that up easily. But you also just don't need to set up Nasty Plot ever here, right? Because it's a Life Orb Calyrex. So you easily could just lead Indeedee, do fuck tons of damage, and then clean up with something like, wow, just triple dragon moves. You can just smack them with Regidrago. You can smack them with their Shifu. It's a very, very aggressive team. This guy can smack people around too. And I think the Drago is really, really smart because it's so good in hard TR. So I think adding it at this point in the meta makes a lot of sense. I also think that it can just function outside of that matchup as well. Good into Miraidon, forces Terras. You can smack things around with this guy. He just goes nuts. He just hits like a fucking truck. And then you also have the Urshifu, obviously. You got Ogerpon. It's just like 4 really insane hard-hitting mons. And then the 2 supports, setting up Tailwind, setting up Follow Me, or Trick 'em, I guess, in some scenarios. But it's just mainly about dealing big fuck tons of damage, and then cleaning up with the other guys who do big fuck tons of damage, right? And then Whimsicott is obviously so good. Helping Hand's a really cute tech. It allows you to get reaches with Calyrex early in the game without having to set up and just doing big fucking damage, or even hell onto Regidrago or Shifu. You can pick up KOs that you probably normally wouldn't. And yeah, I just think it's a cool team. It was cool to see him go this deep. Next up is Mr. Joseph with his signature Fiery Dance Volcarona with Miraidon. I think this team's so weird. I can never understand it fully. I think it's good. I think that there's a lot of good pieces here. I think screens plus Miraidon goes incredibly hard. It's just wild to me how weak to fake out it is. But he just manages to get by every time. I think just setting up the screens is enough that you're like, fuck it, dude. You can fake me out. You can hit my guys for free. But all of them are just so naturally bulky, with the screens especially, that you're just not going to deal damage. Like, Miraidon is a very bulky Pokemon. You set up the screens, you're like, alright, fine. You can fake out and close combat me. I don't give a fuck anymore. I have screens. Or you can hit my Volcarona. But I have already set up and I have screens. So I think Grimmsnarl just enables all these guys together. He's really the only one using this team. And I think Ditto's sick, obviously. Ditto's sick as hell. And it just adds a lot of depth. But he's really the only one using this team, and he's finding mad success with it. I think going forward, I think Grimmsnarl does give you some value into Regulation I. I don't think you have to use him, but I do think he has some more value, because there's 2 restricteds now. Obviously, Joe usually gets 2 restricteds too, but hey, now you're guaranteed 2. And I think Grimmsnarl has some sauce going forward. We actually did see someone use this team, but with Zamazenta over Urshifu. So who knows? Maybe Joe's team is the future as well. Now, the last 2 teams are the exact same. We had a near finals between Joey and Daniel. I was not expecting this team to go so deep. I didn't expect half the cut to be Koraidon as well, which is nuts. But I think going forward, Koraidon is absolutely insane in Regulation I. I think it's a great Pokemon. And I think it was good in Reg G, and we're finally seeing the strength of this Pokemon just popping off, and we're seeing that Brute Bonnet once again. I think the Koraidon core of Fluttermane, Chi-Yu, and Koraidon is just absolutely nuts. You get so much value out of these 3 Pokemon. Chi-Yu with Scarf goes absolutely insane, big damage. I think Sash Fluttermane is really sick. It gives you a great matchup into Shadow Horse, gives you a good matchup into anything. It's hard to kill Fluttermane as it is, but committing 2 hits sucks ass. And then Brute Bonnet is really sick as well, because you just get the Proto, you get the defense boost, you get to become even more bulky while holding an item. Perfection. But then this team rounded out with Iron Crown Indeedee, which is a little wild. You wouldn't expect it. But I do think Indeedee synergizes incredibly well with the other pieces of the team. I think it does really well preventing fake out for Koraidon and his 2 other fast friends, and just priority moves in general. But then pairing it with Iron Crown is kind of nuts, because I do think you get that fast psychic move. Iron Crown can benefit from Chi-Yu. He doesn't really benefit from Koraidon, but he benefits from Chi-Yu. Also, Indeedee gives you a good matchup into Miraidon as well. It just seems like this team just brings everything together perfectly. And I think there's just so much overwhelming shit you have to deal with in Team Preview, that if you're a good player and you're piloting it, you can really force them to react a certain way and then punish that, right? You can easily whip out your Koraidon Fluttermane lead in Game 1, and then Game 2, just go Indeedee Crown, and you're like, fuck, what do I do into that? Or just go Flutter Chi-Yu. Or Brute Bonnet plus Koraidon, right? There's just so many options that you have, or Chi-Yu Koraidon. There's so many options you have to cover for. It's just, I'm literally just thinking them as I go, and they all just sound really nasty. Iron Crown Chi-Yu. They just sound nasty, and it's just really obnoxious to deal with, and it's just going to be hard for you to stop all of the offense that this team is going to output. I think it goes absolutely hard here, and it's kind of wild to see another mirrored finals in the same season between 2 friends who built the same team together. Just crazy shit. Because you wouldn't, especially this, you wouldn't have predicted this. Like, the Koraidon Brute Bonnet mirror in finals? No way, dude. I would have lost my parlay every single time on this shit. There's no way I was calling this. But congrats to them for popping off with this shit, because it's kind of wild. But I think it's good. I think this team is very good. And I think they made this really solid really good team, and I think it deserved to win. I really like it. I think it pops off into almost everything in the format, and I think it's good. And I think we're going to see something, not necessarily exactly the same, but I think Brute Bonnet does have a ton of value in Regulation I. I think it's so good, and I think Koraidon is so good too. So I think we're going to see similar pieces here, maybe the Chi-Yu, going forward into the Regulation I meta. And I'm excited. I think this was a cool send-off to Reg G. I think people showed up with some crazy teams. So much Brute Bonnet, Chi-Yu, Koraidon. Like, actually 3 of them in top 8. Nuts. Mind fucking blown on that one. But yeah, I'm interested to see where Regulation I goes. I think some of these teams we're going to see similar pieces. I think you could definitely pull off a Yuki team in Regulation I. You could force Shadow Horse, Indeedee, Wims. Just throw a Restrict on there. Throw a Zam right there. Team is going hard. This team is obviously very good as well. You just throw Shadow Horse over the Screamtail and you're feeling pretty good. I think something goes over Heatran, but you get the idea. And I think Koraidon, Brute Bonnet, you could slap Lunala with it. You could slap Shadow Horse with it. There's a lot of options here. Yeah, I think all these teams going forward in the top 8 are actually pretty malleable and changeable into Regulation I. If you're looking for inspiration for Reg I think going through these teams could help you out a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of video once again. We'll see you on Wednesday for the finals review, where we'll be checking out the finals. I'm excited to see this mirror match. I'm curious to see where it goes. Also, please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.